There's people who good genetics who are giving up, but because I have average genetics and I tried and I pushed it for a year and I believe it, so I'm winning championships.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 161 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. Last week with Ingrid and Coach Mark, we learned that motivation and inspiration are not the same thing. You've got to motivate yourself, and we're keeping you inspired here the best we know how. Jairo Chang is back for round 3 to inspire natural bodybuilders and answer your questions concerning all things natural bodybuilding, as we are officially less than 5 weeks out from the Open Natural Bodybuilding competition. Jairo is a professional natural bodybuilder himself, judge, and show promoter. In our first 2 episodes together, which is 121 and 153, we covered the basics of drug testing, identifying shows, and all about Jairo's career, so if you haven't heard those yet, that's a great place to start. Solomon was never a bodybuilder, but he did write in the book of Proverbs some wisdom that's empowering our workouts here at Superset. That is, take away the dross from the silver, and the smith has material for a vessel. Proverbs 25:4. While Solomon was teaching of wise choices versus poor choices, this analogy makes me think of contest prep. We have to cut the fat in this sport to show what we're really made of, and there's no better man to discuss contest prep than Jairo Chang. He cares about the athletes, he's passionate about bodybuilding, and he's giving back to the industry on a level that I hope to do myself someday. Jairo, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you, Cole, for having me back here. Very happy to be here.
Thank you very much, as always, and loving your background too, by the way. That's a lot of trophies back there.
Woo! Oh, yeah, and we can't wait to give those out. Yeah, we have some really cool ones by Neil Sanderson, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is this sculpture from Arizona. And we're particularly excited about the ones for female bodybuilders, because there are trophies that I never saw before for open bodybuilding.
Right on. And the belts too. We'll get into all that. For those that don't know, what got you into the sport of bodybuilding in the first place as a competitor?
That's a good one. I think you know what, the initial motivation, I found like the reasons for us to work out, to go to the gym, they may change over time. So the reason why I work out now is not necessarily the same reason why I started back when I was 14 years old. So speaking with other friends, I found that a lot of us that take it to a competitive level, we have the same background. Which is the seek of some sort of like seeking an identity. Like when you're a teenager, you're trying to find who you want to be or who you want to be like. And I found that a lot of bodybuilders, and reading also Arnold's book and many other bodybuilders, a lot of us have this is like a psychological thing, some sort of like father issues, like some sort of like dark or missing or something going on with our father. So we look into bodybuilding for kind of like seeking that identity. My personal story is nothing too dramatic. It's just that my dad, he was a small business owner, and his office was 3 hours away from our home. So I would usually see my dad only on weekends. So he was a good dad and all, but he wasn't physically there that much. And I had 2 sisters. So I grew up mostly with my mom, and at some point with an uncle who moved in. I was
so ironic we're recording this right after Father's Day too.
No, but it's all positive. It's all going in a positive direction, because then especially because bodybuilding put in a positive part. And again, my dad was good, but growing up with my mom and 2 sisters, I was looking for like identity. Like I felt like I was different, like when I was getting ready for school, my mom was, "Oh, did you get your blouse ready?" I'm like, "What? You mean your shirt?" Yeah, like I'm a boy, mom. And so I was going in this direction and hanging out with friends. And you're much younger than me, but I don't know how much of the 80s you got, but I grew up in the 80s. So I guess you could say my figure, I was bombarded with a lot of the Rocky and Rambo movies and Jean-Claude Van Damme. and Commando, Predator, all those Arnold's movies. So I kind of like looked into that, and I looked, oh, the Incredible Hulk, like the original one. It's like, I want to be like that. I want to be like those guys. And then I started
like Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah, Lou Ferrigno, like the
Bro,
original.
that's been our quote. Has been his quote. Forget mistakes, forget everything except what you're doing right now, and do it.
Huh.
Lou Ferrigno. It's a really good one. But yeah, he's always been one of my favorite bodybuilders too. And I think he was.
Yeah, it's a good role model. Yeah, he's like a gentle giant kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so initially that was my motivation, just like seeking that identity. Again, things have changed a lot, of course, but growing up in the 80s, it was the hyper masculinity. So because I was looking for that, like Conan the Barbarian, that what's a quote from Conan? Crush your enemies and hear the lamentation of their women, something like that.
That's the best line of the movie, is that part right there.
It's all over the top. So initially that was it, like just seeking that identity, like wanting to be like Lou Ferrigno, wanting to be like Arnold. Now fast forward to present day, things have changed a lot. I think I did powerlifting too. If you go to a powerlifting meet today, you'll see that it's exactly 50-50 men and women. So it's not like, oh, it's not the masculine like the guys. No, it's 100% equal. You see equal number of female and male lifters. And if you say the word bodybuilder, now you don't think of a man right away. It could be a man, it could be a woman. And I think if you go to bodybuilding shows, if you take into account figure and fitness and bikini, all the classes, you'll find that the majority of bodybuilders are women. So it's not even like a guy thing anymore. And also, of course, that now that we're more mature, like there's no need for that like over the top masculinity. You know, now we have like different values. As you say, it's Father's Day. You know, like in this era, we value more things like being a good dad. You don't have to like be aggressive or punch anyone in the face or anything like that to prove yourself as a guy. So that's all the positive. And yeah, and I think I'm going back to where I started. I think my initial motivations, it's not that anymore. It's a lot simpler. I just go to the gym because it feels good. I just go there. You know, if I'm feeling bad, I have a bad day, I just go there, I bench press, get a pump, and then I get all the endorphins going on. I feel good about myself. I feel more positive. And as a matter of fact, when I have to take some sort of life decision, I make bad decisions at the gym when I'm working out. That's the right time between
because you're in a positive state of mind.
And then you're like, wow, I can work this out. Like everything feels good, everything feels possible.
Wow. That's super valuable. That's really the same reason that I work out too. you get to a point where you're training for your physique. You're training for your physique, and then it becomes part of your circadian rhythm. Like food doesn't taste the same on my off days. You know, it's like when I've worked up an appetite, when I've earned that meal, there's a sense of satisfaction that I don't get on my off days. And I think that most people approach bodybuilding and stay within bodybuilding for a lot of the same reasons. I was just listening to Dr. Anthony Chafee. I've been consuming a lot of his content lately, and he says that he doesn't get energy to work out. He works out so he has energy for the rest of the day. And I was like, that's basically Superset Your Life. That's kind of the name of our podcast, right? We should get him on our show.
I think their goals make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what got into okay? So I think we're both kind of in similar points in life. We were just texting about this the other day. How we're like, I do not have anywhere near the athletic credentials and accomplishments that you do, nor will I probably ever. But I'm happy to be around and be a coach and be a part of bodybuilding for the rest of my life. And I really don't see that changing. I'm passionate about the sport. I think it's an art and a sport. And so for people like me that are creative and that are also athletes, it gives us a way to be able to do both. I feel like I'm killing two birds with one stone, which is why I've been doing this for so long and why I love it. So what got you into promoting the sport of bodybuilding?
I like what you just said, you know, because when we're athletes, like sometimes like things happen, you know, like injuries or life changes. So of course we're always gonna work out and lift weights and exercise and take good care of ourselves as much as possible. But taking it to a competitive level, that's a different game, and you can't always take it for granted. So I'm on the same line of thought with you, like always like coaching and helping others and being like a positive role model. I guess for one reason or another, now during COVID, I got three major injuries on my back. I had like two spinal herniations, and I tore my right biceps. Imagine that. I was like biceps curling, and it just like tore into like a rubber band. It's probably the most painful injury I've ever had.
Oh yeah. No, when we were moving from Vancouver, Washington to here, we are moving our deadlift platform. The deadlift platform. We're not deadlifting. We're just moving our deadlift platform. It's freaking heavy too. So we have 4 guys on it, and we had a miscommunication with like which way we were going to turn. And so one of the gentlemen that was a very good friend of mine actually that was helping us move, tightened his bicep a little bit, and that's all it took. Bam, it was gone. He already had to get surgery, and it looked like it looked like a pop tire is the best way that I can explain it. That is what did it feel like when you tore your bicep?
Yeah, mine looked like a peanut. It was kind of weird. It was like I had like 2 biceps, like a cartoon. Instead of having like one, I had 2.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything pretty. Anyway, no. but I guess you could say the positive things of the injuries. You know, it was like physically and mentally painful. That it gave me time to reflect, about like life, how much I like bodybuilding. Like okay, like it made me in a way like grateful for what I have, and also mindful that some things you cannot take for granted, right? But I can, I mean, I can still work out. Luckily, I'm recovered for the most part. But the part that can only stay with me is what I do for others. So being a promoter, like promoting my own show, is something that I have been wanting to do for the longest time. So that kind of like gave me like the white light or the green light to just okay. I think the time is now. I'm no longer competing, but I'm gonna start doing this. Luckily, I've been like volunteering with other bodybuilding shows, local bodybuilding shows. Like our friend John is one of my favorite promoters, and PNBA shows, NGA shows, AAU shows, and I always look at the positive. Okay, what are they doing right? And then making notes on what they're doing right, but also taking notes of okay, there are things that I would probably do different. There are, for example, like judging. Some of my ideas of judging, I'm gonna share some of that with you later. I can be a little bit different, but in terms of production, I have a background in TV production. So there's things that I think I could bring to the table, like for stage design, for sound, for video production. I think there's a lot of work that still can be done to make bodybuilding more appealing. Not just a lot of oil up people flexing, but I've actually just make it more marketable.
Yeah. I don't even want to know what all goes in behind the scenes when you're talking stage, lighting, music, copyright, all that. You're my hero.
Well, luckily, I think part of it is just finding a good team, finding a good staff. You know, like yourself. And I've been lucky to find like talented people. I found like a really good DJ, a good MC. I found an extraordinarily good head judge, and all the pieces kind of like start falling into place. Now I'm working. I got a graphic designer too, a friend from that I grew up in Colombia. He helped me like make these T-shirts, and I guess you have to trust. You have to trust others and delegate, and then use your strengths and find the places where you say, okay, I think I don't want to be my MC. I think Cole would do a better job than me, and then and kind of let some parts go, and you will be fine. And the entire idea, you know what? It was really simple. I grew up in Colombia. And it was a lot of fun when I was a teenager. They had these non-sanctioned bodybuilding shows, and it was the shows. It was really simple. It was just like one gyms that were competition. I think the gym was the gym where I trained. It was called Power 2000. Because 2000 was the future back then. Power 2000, and then the other gym was Toro's gym. So there was like some rivalry between the two gyms. And they're like, okay, let's make a show. So one gym would get like the best bodybuilders of their gym, best bodybuilders here, and then they would go together on a weekend event. And that was it. Just like, just like like a soccer pickup match.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I want to do something like that. And that's how like the idea of the Open came to mind. Just like, federation is not that formal. It's just like more like before the real season starts. You get all the bodybuilders together, which a lot of them are even friends, and then we have like a friendly game.
Yeah, like a pickup game. That's really cool. Was there so was it like an actual bodybuilding show, or did you guys like was it like only I guess flexing, posing, they're judging your body composition, or did you guys ever have like kind of like they did back in the pumping iron days where they would actually have curling competitions and stuff?
No, no, not the physical part back then, but we would have like a panel of judges and everything, and the gym. The competitions that would take place like at a gym. You know how they do powerlifting meets at like in a CrossFit gym. So we would do the equivalent to that, like in a gym. They would make like a mobile platform and have judges, and all the members could come in and cheer for their athletes. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then they also had, like the bigger events. I remember, I think to this day, the coolest event I'm going to kind of reveal my age, but the coolest event that I remember that I've seen ever was in 1995 Open National in Colombia. They had like really cool, like on the stage, I don't know if you remember, I think it's one of the Rocky movies, they have like this hydraulic platform.
Yeah.
So the competitors, instead of just walking on stage, they would be like raised like an elevator, like, and they would appear there, and they had a guest poster. I remember there was like a motorcycle would get like on stage, and the guy takes his helmet off, and there's his clothes, and there's like fireworks all over the place. So eventually, I would like to go and do crazy things like that.
We'll get there, man. Well, every year we'll just add something. We'll just add something new.
Make it grow, yeah.
Why not? How big of a role do genetics play in the sport of bodybuilding? I know something we don't like to talk about a lot because it's out of our control, but let's not ignore the white elephant in the room, right? It has a lot to do with the sport.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course, just like anything, there's a part that's a natural talent and there's a part that you grow. Of course, genetics play an important role, but I don't think genetics are as important as we think they are. I think genetics only are more important at a higher level when you have like a lot of athletes that have been training for years, putting a lot of work, and you're doing national or worlds. And so when you're getting closer to your maximum genetic potential, sure, and then that's going to make a tiebreaker on who's, they have the 5 best bodybuilders in the world, and then that makes a difference who could places first, second, and third. Now, at an amateur level, I don't think genetics are the main factor, because genetics, a lot of people use not having the best genetics in the world as an excuse not to work hard. Oh, I don't have the right frame, I don't have the right whatever, so they don't do anything. And for that reason, because people think that genetics are too important, most people don't even try bodybuilding. They don't think of even ever competing. And what they don't know is that bodybuilding, especially natural bodybuilding, we don't have that. There's not even that many people doing it, because everyone has that mentality. So just by believing that you can do it, you're already upping, you're already better than the people who already gave up. There's people with good genetics who are giving up, but because I have average genetics and I tried and I pushed it for a year and I believe it, so I'm winning championships.
Wow, that's amazing. The whole concept of genetics is something that has been frustrating for me over all my competitions. Not gonna lie, it's annoying where I'm like, okay, I've worked so hard and I've put in so much effort, and I think I outtrained this guy. I don't know, but man, he's got those short muscle bellies. He's half the size of me, and when it comes to a most muscular pose, I got no chance. They seem. It seems like most of the natural shows that I've done, it's usually the middleweight guy or the lightweight guy that wins the overall, but not usually anyone from the tall category. It's just, I don't know. I think that us taller guys with longer bones, longer femurs in particular, have a bit more to go to fill out those muscle bellies. So usually when they ask for a favorite pose, if I am in an overall, that's when I'm throwing out. I'm just trying to make myself look tall. I'm doing like the Frank Zane stuff with my arms up here, or an abs and thighs or something, but never like a side chest or anything to where I know that those shorter guys are going to beat me.
And I think it's really cool because you're finding what works for you. And I think that's one of the things that in bodybuilding is really cool, because that's what makes it an art, that you have to find what works for you. And then when we go with posing, we're going to talk about a little bit about that. I think it's good to give a little bit of flexibility for posing, so everybody can make it like artful, like, oh, like this person, like a double bicep, you have to go like this, but it's not written anywhere. Like you have to do like a straight horizontal angle. You can raise your elbows a little bit more. You can put them a little bit more like this. Your elbow, your fist can be more looking forward, more to the side if you want to make it look long. So there's room for a little bit of like variations and to let every bodybuilder shine as an artist and show their individuality.
Totally. Yeah, I love the art aspect of it. And that's kind of the fun thing about just guest posing this year and not competing, is not having to have that worry of comparing myself to someone else. I think that can get I think you can get into a dark place if you're getting too carried away with other people's performance and not your own. When at the end of the day, bodybuilding should be you versus you, and whether you get first place or whether you get fifth place, the most important thing is knowing that you left that show doing the absolute best that you could, that you're a better athlete than you were before if you've done a previous show. If it's your first show, hey, you're in the best shape of your life, and you left no stone unturned. I think that's what every athlete should go into their first show or any show with, to some degree. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I always like to compare bodybuilding to other sports, like especially to powerlifting. And the most important thing, if you go to a lifting meet, if you set a personal record, if you went to a competition and you put on the stage or on the platform like your best bench press ever, who cares where you place? Like if another, let's say I do, I don't know, 310, and then another guy does 315, that doesn't take anything away from my 310. Still the best that I've ever done, and it's still like heavy as weight. So for bodybuilding, it's the same thing. You just have to bring your best, you could say your PRs, and lead them on stage. For a bodybuilder, it's more like the pictures. Instead of having the numbers, you walk home with the coolest pictures, and then you can keep those forever and say, hey, look at the kind of shape that I achieved on July 22nd, 2023.
Yeah, 100%. Just to wrap up the genetics topic, so for the average person listening, is there like an ideal type of genetics that are optimal, and it'll give you the best chance of winning? I think if you ask most people, they would just say mesomorph is best. I would classify myself as being endomesomorph. Do you have any opinions there?
I think that concept has been reevaluated a lot lately. And I think it discourages people a lot. That I don't want anyone to believe that, oh, you have to be a pure mesomorph to have the greatest chances, because that makes people give up too soon. You get guys, going to old school bodybuilding like Frank Zane. Like initially, he looked like what's the skinny one, the ectomorph. Yeah. But then like years of training, to many people, he's like the most aesthetic guy ever. So I think every what's the word, each of the body types, they all have like an advantage. Like the endomorph, they have like the larger frame, and the other, like the ectomorph, like I think I'm one of them. The cool thing about that one, like I have a really small wrist, for example, so my arm growth is kind of limited. But if I put just half an inch to my arm, it just gives the illusion that I grew a lot. Yeah. Whereas like the mesomorph, they can grow larger arms, but if they add, just like half an inch, it doesn't look as dramatic because you don't get like all that proportion.
Wow. So, okay. So
I think the main thing is just thinking, just more focusing on, okay, what are the advantages that I have for my own frame?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're all dealt a hand of cards, right? Just like it's like it's poker, and we all have our strong points and we all have our weak points.
Or for your biceps, my genetics, I'm one of the guys who can grow a peak, and there's some other guys who can never grow a peak, but they have like the long biceps and it looks fuller. So if you ask me, oh, what's cooler, like the longer biceps or the, I'm gonna tell you the peak because that's what I have. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sell what I have.
Totally. Yeah, weakest part of my physique, abs for sure. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, I can whine and complain. There's people that don't even stay on their diet and they got abs year round. Like guys when they're sitting down, those are the guys that I kind of grumble underneath my breath when I see them backstage. You know, I'm like, great, I'm up against this guy. Because for me to get my abs to peak, like it's to pop properly, it takes the right water manipulation, the right diet. I got to be shredded and some good lighting and a good tan typically to be able to see them all.
And I think it's also it's also.
Oh, and I was just gonna say hip flexors and quads. You know, that's why I'm showing those all day, every day, because that's like not a lot of athletes really have those. But you really have to learn what your strong points are and what your weak points are, and be thankful for your strong points and work on your weak points to a point. I mean, you can't change where your lats insert, you can't change where your biceps insert, but you can do the most of what you have. And yeah, maybe not everybody can be Mr. Olympia, but anybody can get into wicked shape and make a very, very good physique with what you do have.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you summarized that really well. Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. Not everyone can be the world champion, but everyone can get in great shape. And
Everybody
that's
can
no
get better.
reason just to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a growing number of classes, aka divisions in bodybuilding. So what classes do you think most that make the most sense? Which ones don't? Like classic physique, for example, there's a lot of controversy around that, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of came into play because the bodybuilders just got way too big, which is kind of impossible in natural bodybuilding. And so classic physique. I know there's some controversy within natural organizations. I always do it if they offer it because I love the artistic, I guess, angle on it. But in terms of bodybuilding and body composition, I can see why a lot of natural federations have gone away with it, because at a natural show, like the bodybuilders basically look like classic physique athletes for the most part. I know that they're looking for different proportions and everything, going for more of that golden era aesthetic. And then don't even get me started on the women's divisions. There's like what 6, 7, 8 of them now, depending on who's running the show. So I guess what's your opinion on how many classes are offered? Are there too many? Are there not enough?
I think we have to look at bodybuilding as any other sports, right? You have to think of men and women, for example, like soccer. You have men's soccer, you have women's soccer, and that happens almost into every sport, right?
Yep.
And we are the same on regards of our muscular system, which is the main thing that we're judging. So, you know, both of us, we have like 2 arms and 2 legs. We have biceps and triceps and quadriceps. But if you look at divisions, things are not even. So check this out, for women, you would have women's bodybuilding, women's physique, fit body, figure, bikini, fitness model, wellness. Now let's go to men. Oh yeah, bodybuilding and men's physique. That's it. And then some organizations would have classic, some won't have it. So you have, you know, like 6+ number of divisions here, and then you have 2 or 3 on this area. So I think our proposal is to have like a matrix that has the same number of classes and their equivalent. You know, the easiest one is like women's bodybuilding. Okay, you have men's bodybuilding. And then on the other hand, you have men's physique and you have bikini. They have some similarities. Instead of flexing, it's more like T-walks, and it's more like a fashion walk.
Very similar, more of like a sustainable year-round kind of fit look.
Yeah, and they have physiques that are marketable, are more appealing to people, not only to like people who are into hardcore bodybuilding, but you know, like spectators, people who are not into bodybuilding, they can also appreciate those bodies. You know, like most women who go to the gym, they will look at like a bikini champion and they would acknowledge, wow, she looks really good. And then same for men's physique, like guys who are not into other sports, they would look at, wow, that'd be cool to look like that guy. So you have those, right? So on the top, you have women's bodybuilding, men's bodybuilding, and then here you have women's bikini, and you have men's physique, and then we want to find something in between.
Yeah.
So the middle, in my opinion, for men would be a classic physique. It's a physique that's like balanced, symmetric, and then for women, this is probably an opinion because it's hard. There's so many. I have to pick one. I have to pick. Okay, what's the women's version of a classic physique? I'm sure there's different opinions. In our opinion, that's gonna be figured, and the reason why we think
Oh
it's figured.
wow, I was gonna guess women's physique. Okay.
Yeah, you could make an argument, but we picked figure. I guess the head judge and I agreed because like the definition, like the figure and the classic physique, they really resemble a bodybuilder from a different era. So if you look at women who are doing figure, they used to have some. It started with women's fitness. Initially, they had to do some sort of performance, gymnastics, some choreography like that, do like some push-ups. So they do look like an athlete. If you look at modern figure competitors, they look like professional bodybuilders from the 1980s.
Right.
And that's how we picked that one.
Wow.
So summarizing, we would like to have like three and three. Again, if you want to say it's physique, maybe you're right, but I think it's cool to have the 3 male and the 3 female line.
Wow. So are those the only classes that you're offering then for women?
Yeah. So we would have, so the idea is to have like 3 and 3, like an even number. And I think again, because we have 2 arms, 2 legs.
Yeah.
To us just to make it balanced.
Well, it's simple. It makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes even more sense from the spectator's point of view because when you go into a bodybuilding show, I mean, if I'm bringing someone in that's never gone to a show, which is like pretty much every single show that I do either coach or just attend personally, like I always bring someone with me. I think it's a really cool experience if you've never been. I think you really need to go to a bodybuilding show as a spectator to see if it's anything that you want to do, but really, I think you'll just leave inspired. It's really, really fascinating. I don't know why there's not why it's not more of a spectator sport and why it doesn't have the traction that a lot of these other mainline sports do because it's so relatable. It's something that we all do or we should do, right? Everybody should be working out to some degree, whether it's actually going to the gym or not. But I think that would simplify things a lot better because it's always tough to explain. Okay, what's the difference between bikini, figure, women's physique, bodybuilding? It's like what wellness. I don't know, where do you even start? Like if you're not really familiar with the sport in general, like that's overwhelming. You go into a show and you're kind of confused. But if you go in and you see 3 categories of each, that seems to make a lot more sense. That's really cool. I never heard of that before. Huh. Is it fair when a crossover competitor wins 2 different classes? We all know that. We've all experienced that, right? You go to a show and there's one athlete where it's like, I mean, it doesn't matter what that guy does, he's winning. If it's men's physique bodybuilding, I'm just gonna throw on my trunks and head out.
Yeah, I think in many cases it is. Yeah, it's just like we're, in an ideal world, you want everybody to win a trophy, right? It's like, oh, okay, so I didn't win men's physique, but maybe I have a chance of winning this other, or I didn't win bodybuilding, but I'm gonna win classic. So in an ideal world, if we like in a child party, everyone should walk out like everyone's a winner kind of thing. Yeah. But in reality, I don't think it works like that. I think they are like every division is a different game that you're playing. Let's say you and I don't know, we go to a sports bar and they have like a pool table and they have like a, I'm just gonna say a ping pong table. Yeah. And then we you and I play pool, and then you beat me, and then we're gonna play ping pong, and because you beat me, now I'm gonna beat you. It's like, no, not necessarily. They're just like 2 different games. Maybe you're better than me on both games. So like the way that our head judge puts it is like, as a judge, she says, I simply judge what's in front of me. So let's say they're doing a women's bikini. Here's the criteria. So I reward an athlete that best suits that criteria. And then if you put me the same group of athletes in, let's say, figure, let's say who fits the figure criteria better. Now, sometimes like the person wins, it's like one head above everybody else. So that's when they win. When one athlete is really good, I mean, let's say you win bodybuilding, because you're very massive, you have a lot of, let's say you have a lot of muscularity, and then you do classic physique, but guess what? The same guy, he's also very symmetric. Not only is he very muscular, but he's very symmetric. So yeah, there's a chance you're gonna win both. But there's chance where, so when would you not win both? Let's say if you're doing bodybuilding, I see a guys who win bodybuilding who have, for example, like huge quads. So that shows a lot of muscularity. So you get like a higher score. But then when you go to classic, that same person, but the ratio for quads to caps doesn't match as much. Like the quads are overpowering the caps, then that's going to count against you for classic physique. Because for classic physique, symmetry is the main thing. So for classic physique, it's not, there's a misunderstanding. A lot of people think that, oh, like you shouldn't be as massive. No, you can be as massive as you want for classic physique. The only limit though is your proportions. So if I have calves that won't grow very much, so I have to limit the growth of my quads. So it's because I don't want them to overpower my calves. And the same thing for arms and calves. A lot of guys have arms that grow.
Your arms and calves in classic physique are supposed to be the same. If I'm
exactly, that is exactly
okay,
right.
So I thought, yeah, my biceps are 15 and a half and my calves are 17 and a half. So I got some work to do.
Oh wow, it's usually the other way. I think kind of yeah, my calves.
I know, and I train biceps all the time, and I never train calves because I just got them from running.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm the opposite. But yeah, I think that those proportions became very popular. But by Steve Reeves, who's a classic bodybuilder, he's one of the early.
I was going to say I have his book right here. I'm going to grab his proportions.
There you go. So while you do that, I'm going to talk about like Steve Reeves. So he, for those who don't know, he was you could say he was the first Arnold, the first bodybuilder who was like a famous movie star. He made some Tarzan and Hercules movies, one of the both guys. And then he
was natural too.
Into the mainstream, and then he was famous because of that. He's very proportionate body. His calves were the same as his arms and his neck as well. I think it was it 17 and a half, 18, something like that. Like, but they both measured exactly the same. And I also like Steve Reeves because he was a big proponent of natural bodybuilding. He figured it, since the 70s, he could see how drugs were making the difference on who would win a competition or not. And then he was, what's the word, outspoken. He was verbal about being against drug abuse in the 70s.
Yeah. I heard a rumor he was on TRT, or that he was taking testosterone. Maybe it's just a rumor. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, bodybuilding wasn't tested back then, but yeah, but he wasn't about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he was 100% clean, but at least he wasn't about letting drugs be in the.
Well, you just look at his body, and you just look at his physique, and that's a natural physique. That's not someone that looks like they use drugs or much less got carried away with them. Yeah, on page 64.
What book is that? Can you show me that book, please?
Oh, yeah. This is called Building the Classic Physique the Natural Way by Steve Reeves.
There you go, The Natural Way. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, and so the whole book is is super inspiring. Like, obviously, most of the nutrition is outdated. Like, start every morning with a glass of orange juice and a banana, that kind of thing. but on page 64, he goes over proportions. So apparently, your arm size should be 252% of your wrist size. Your calf size should be 192% of your ankle size. Your neck size should be 79% of your head size. Your chest should be 148% of your pelvis size. Your waist should be 86% of your pelvis size. Easy for him to say. That guy had like the most. Him and Flex Wheeler probably have like the smallest waist proportions of all time. And then thigh size, 175% of the knee size. And weight should be 295% of your height. So if you're an athlete that is 6'1", apparently as a classic physique athlete, you should be around like 210 pounds. So I'm weighing in at 200, about 8% body fat now, I think. So I think right on track for a $198 is I think what you and I went over for your show. Gives me 2 more weeks to cut and then a little bit of a reverse diet coming nice and full.
That's good. That's a good book. I'm gonna look into that one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, highly recommend it. You know, like someone like you would get a lot of the just like nostalgia out of it and just like, wow, this is like Arnold's book, but even better kind of thing. You know, for contest prep, there's better research. There's better, more current.
I know those guys like the really old school. They used to one common practice was drinking 1 gallon of milk, 1 gallon of whole milk a day.
Yeah,
that's how they got their protein. But you know, of course, that doesn't make sense anymore because now we have protein shakes, so you can take exactly what you need without getting all the fat and all the extra stuff.
Exactly.
And they also used to there's other practices that are very dated.
Yeah, and then pretty much all the athletes that we're coaching are ketogenic anyway, and so most contest prep books that you do read, you got to go towards the ketogenic coaches that have put out their work. There's some really good ones. So.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of SuperSetYourLife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
Can you briefly summarize, because I know it'd be hard to do on a podcast, but is there a way that you could quickly summarize how score sheets are filled out and weighted, like on the judging panel?
It's a tough one without visuals, but I guess that the very basics, you know, I've read on Arnold's book actually, but I've never seen it, but I just sharing information. I read that in the early days of bodybuilding, they used to score bodybuilding, you know, like a beauty contest. Like you would get like, oh, this person is an 8.1. Like they would assign like a score from 1 to 10 with decimal points to every competitor, and then whoever got the highest score, and in every round would be the winner. They stopped doing that a long time ago, and since the decade, maybe the 70s, they have been using the ranking system, which is a lot simpler. So I have 5, let's say, you know, a dozen competitors in front of me. So I just sort them into places. Okay, this one's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then I sort them from, let's say, 1 through 12 in our example, and then that's gonna be the score for every person. So the person who places, who I as a judge place first is gonna score 1, and the person who I place 12 is gonna score 12. So and then you have a panel of 5 judges. You get the numbers of like 5 judges. Let's say call Milton, and then somebody puts you first, the other guy puts you second, and another guy puts you first, another guy puts you third. So you give every contestant a number, and the less number, you know, if you got all the small numbers, if you score the less, then you're gonna be the winner. So in the ranking system, whoever gets the lesser number is the winner. With that being said, and they do one of the reasons why they have a panel, it's usually 5 judges, is because they want an odd number, because then the results tend to be odd too, and then there tends not to be ties.
Okay.
However,
so on the ties, then if there is a tie, how is that typically broken? Because I've talked to the judges afterward from competitions and had them just tell me, I've asked, like, okay, between me and number 39, why did number 39 beat me? Be honest. And the judges have, and there's been times where judges have said it was basically a toss-up. I mean, I don't know. It came down, like, on this pose he had you beat, on that pose he had you beat. You have better legs, he has a better chest, blah blah blah.
Yeah, just like in many sports, yeah, they have the unanimous decision and then like split decisions.
Yeah.
From my Sorry, I had a phone call.
Yep.
From my experience working with different organizations, there are two ways how you can break that tie, and one way is just math. So instead of you would use the median number. So for example, if you have this score, you see which number is the more recurring number. So if two judges place you or three judges place you on second place, then because that's the most repeated number, you would pick that number. Or mathematically, the median, or you just sort all the numbers in order and pick the number that's in the center. That's another way how they can do it. Like literally use like spreadsheets just to calculate that number real quick.
Yeah.
And some other organizations, they just leave it to the head judge. So they say, hey, judge, we have a tie here. And then the judge goes over the score sheets, and then they meet in the intermission. And then the head judge has the final say of, okay, I think this person had it because of this and this reason. And that's probably the case for you.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more subjective, but I think that either way goes.
Okay. Is there any difference in judging per organization, within? I know that judging between NPC and a lot of the natural federations is pretty different. Is there any difference within natural federations in and of themselves based on what the judge is looking for?
Yes, based on personal experience, yeah, there is. I've worked with or volunteered and worked with 5 or 6 different organizations, and usually, yeah, I would say so. I guess what I'm gonna share with you is more like on like the West Coast, which where my experience come from. You know, it's just based on my experience that WNBF tends to reward more conditioning. Like doing they want to do their homework with their dieting and come like dialed in, but sometimes the
mistake
are not as massive.
I made that mistake on my first NPC show because I'd done all WNBF the year prior, and so I went in thinking that being the leanest person on stage and being absolutely shredded would win, and I got beat by a bunch of guys that were bigger. I was leaner, but they were lean. They were shredded. I was more shredded, but they just completely had me on mass.
Yeah, especially, in a show that's not tested, I could see that happening. And in my opinion, the reason why the WNBF, still as my opinion, went in that direction is because they wanted to differentiate from the non-natural. It's like, okay, you guys have the bigger guys. Okay, we're gonna have the most shredded guys.
Well, it's easier. It's kind of easier to get shredded as a natural athlete.
I guess we tend to be more meticulous with our diets because we're not relying on computer at all.
Yeah, and I guess what I meant by that is you have a cleaner, drier look as a natural athlete compared to the compounds that are being taken if you're an enhanced athlete.
Now, and again, I think that's how that trend started, like rewarding the leanness. So we go in like in a very clear direction.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's good to find. It's not good to go straight into any direction because then these guys, they have the issues with with the drug abuse, but then the reason why we're doing natural bodybuilding is because we're promoting health. So I think when you push things extremely in the other direction, it it's not healthy anymore because they feel depleted and tired. And I remember
you're forgetting people's names. You just can't think right. You're not yourself.
Exactly. Like they call your name and you know.
I think 3% body fat sucks to the point where it's almost not worth it.
Yeah, like no sex drive.
But it's still totally worth it.
But I don't know. But you're still an athlete, so I have a different position on that. And then one of the things that I learned, other organization that I worked with was INBA, PNBA. And one of the quotes that I remember from Denny Keikos, the president, he says, guys, we don't want to reward the concentration camp loons. Like, this is a sport. It's just like. And then I remember another quote from Arnold, which, it's bodybuilding, not body destroying. So that's why you want people to. It's a building competition. It's not just a diet. Dieting is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's bodybuilding, not a weight loss contest.
Exactly. So I think I like to think or to go in that direction, or think of an athlete like a bodybuilder. If you look at the early bodybuilding shows before Mr. Olympia, the world's biggest competition, it was called the best built man in the world. And Arnold was one of the early champions. If you say it's like, who's the best built person? Not like the most dieted person or the most ripped person. And then there's another judge, an NGA judge. His name, what's his name? I feel horrible. I forgot his name. David Lawson. He was a head judge. And then I asked him, hey, David, how do you break this tie? Let's say I'm on stage, I'm judging. There's one guy on stage who's like super shredded. He's kind of small, but I have a guy who's like very muscular, but he's just not as shredded. Like, what do you do? And then he asked me, he replied with a question. I say, okay, which one's harder? Which one takes longer? To build that extra muscle or to diet to get into that leanness? I'm like, yeah, of course it takes more time to build the muscle. So he said that I should reward the more muscular person.
Wow, that sounds very fair. That sounds very honest.
And also, because we're doing natural bodybuilding, I don't think there's any danger. I mean, I can tell female bodybuilders, guys, get as muscular as possible, get as insanely muscular, and nobody's gonna hurt themselves. Nobody's gonna OD or anything like that. What's the worst thing that could happen? They ate too many egg whites or meat or rice and lentils, whatever you eat.
Yeah. Totally. Well, cool. I think that's all the listener questions that we had on this one. I did have a personal question for you. The Zoo by the Scorpions. I'm totally digging creating choreographing a routine to that. So is that like too much of a stripper vibe? I mean, like, I'm a family guy. What I'm going for this year. I was thinking about Flesh for Fantasy by Billy Idol too. That's another good one to dance to.
Yeah, I guess for those of you who don't know, so Colt is going to be our guest poster at the Open Natural on July 22nd, in addition to being like the MC, which I think it's pretty crazy and pretty cool too.
Thanks. I've done stand-up at shows that I've competed at before, so it shouldn't be anything too crazy new.
I know. I think you should pick anything that goes with your personality. I mean, if you ask me, I'm as I said in the beginning of the show, I'm an 80s guy. Of course, I like the hairy rock. So I support you 100%, brother. Just keep it PG, okay?
Just keep it PG. I'll do my absolute best. Cool. All right. Well, Jairo, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see you again in person, man. I'm really, really amped about this. This is going to be a blast. I've been looking forward to this for months. And like I said, you gave me an opportunity to do something really cool with bodybuilding this year, more so than competing. I've done 12 shows. I'm not really ready to do number 13 anytime soon. That might wait another year or two. But yeah, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you for everything, for answering all of our questions. And we're going to come with a couple athletes that are hungry for some trophies. So we're looking forward to it big time.
Sounds great, brother. Yeah, it goes both ways. I'm very thankful for you to include me in your podcast. And I think you have added a lot of value to our show, and you have attracted a lot of more competitors and spectators. And this is the way we should go. We should all do a lot of like collaborations and spread the word. A lot of people don't even know that natural bodybuilding exists. So yeah. This is what you're doing is one great way of putting that word out.
Yeah. I think you and I both have a pretty positive message that people need to hear. So I got your back. I know you got my back, and we're in this together, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this entire episode. If you found this helpful, pay it forward, please, by sharing it with a friend. Your ratings and reviews got us to where we're at. If you're not subscribed, please do that so we can continue to grow the channel and share the knowledge. Thank you very much in advance. Podcast review of the week is from Wendy. She had this to say on our conversation with Lily Kane, which was episode 159. Oh my gosh, what a great episode. I was so excited when you said Lily was going to be on your podcast. You know I adore her. I am honored you mentioned me about eating ribeyes every day. Yeah, I tell everybody that. That was awesome, and I think Lily was speechless, LOL. Can't wait for your next podcast. Thank you so much, Colt and Lily. Keep up the great work and sharing all of your great information. Much love and respect. God bless you, Wendy. Thank you so very much for that. Like I said, all ratings and reviews very, very much help us grow the channel organically, so we appreciate that. I'm going to leave you with a couple ways to support the show. We do not accept donations. It's not really our thing. But if you would like to support the show, we would be honored to earn your business, because if you head on over to our website, supersetyourlife.com, I'm sure you'll find something you will love. We are set up with all the supplements, salts, merchandise, and even Skullbellz skull-themed workout equipment to fuel your journey inside and beyond the gym. Supersetyourlife.com, after 3 years, is still the home of our patented skull-themed dumbbells, barbells, and deltoid desolator cable attachments. Speaking of deltoid desolator cable attachments, here's a customer review from Rick. He has this to say about the cable attachment that he purchased. Hi, Colt. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry this email is a long time coming. I've had a couple busy weeks with school and work, but I wanted to reach out after receiving your letter. I genuinely cannot express how touched I was upon reading your note, including with the rope attachment. The item itself is just what I was looking for. There's absolutely no reason for a replacement. The molds are perfect. We ran out of the mold that he requested. That's why. I've been scouring the internet for a long time for a long enough rope, both for pulls and tricep pull downs, and this is absolutely perfect. There is no need for a refund or replacement. I'm so thankful that you and your company had this available and was able to get it out to me so quickly. I know this might sound cheesy, but you have a customer for life. Thank you, and for being so kind and open. Wow. God bless you too, Rick. Thank you so much for that. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me working hard every day. Appreciate that so much, and thanks again for the purchase. Keto bricks can be purchased through our website, supersetyourlife.com. In episode 158 with Keto Greg, IPE Pro Bodybuilder and Keto Brick Sales Manager, we went over all things natural ketogenic bodybuilding after he helped us get set up with a wholesale reselling account. We have Bell's Brownie Batter, nootropic icing, toasted almond, chocolate peanut butter, milk and cookies, and mocha. Oh, and the UPS guy just dropped off right before this podcast, actually, those freezing packets. And so if you buy keto bricks off our website, they're not going to be melted by the hot weather by the time they get to you. Let's see what else. New weight belts are now in stock on our website as promised. So these are custom made by Aesthetics out of Boise, Idaho. They're genuine brown leather with my Skullbellz logo on it. It's the same belt that I use for all the weight training that I'm doing nowadays, much more so than my heavy-duty Inzer belt. I still use that one on rare occasion when I do squat or deadlift heavy. Other than that, this one is more, it's something that I use every single workout. Even when I do curls, I'm not going to, I don't care. If you want to make fun of me for wearing a belt when I do curls, go for it. I can roll with that. But yeah, so when I'm not using it, it's pretty much always wrapped around my backpack because that's the cool thing to do nowadays is leave it on your gym bag. All purchases go towards supporting the show. One last thing, if you haven't heard about our new podcast called Carnivore Coach's Corner, you got to check that one out because Jonathan Griffiths, who is the composition consultant himself from the UK, has been co-hosting the show with Mark and me now over for 3 months. We are having so much fun on his YouTube channel. We were having so much fun on his YouTube channel. We decided to turn it into a podcast instead. So here we are. We collaborate weekly to discuss listener questions, consultation FAQs, and trending topics related to the carnivore diet and hypertrophy training. Last episode, we went all over Exercise Specifics 101, which was Jonathan's new ebook. Make sure you grab a copy of that if you haven't. It's dirt cheap, too. I think it's like 3 or 4 pounds, which is like $3 or $4. And from there, we put all of our best arguments forward on how to best train biceps. We still don't agree on all those, so if you're not a carnivore, you'll like that one. We are 8 sessions in on that one, and the next one is going to feature Trevor Griffiths. So we'll record that tomorrow. So yeah, thanks everybody so much. God bless you, and we'll catch you on episode 162.